I'm Joe Catalano with an AM Quincy news update for Wednesday, April 29th. There are currently 772 cases of coronavirus confirmed in Quincy. There have been 70 deaths, and 290 people have recovered from the disease. Governor Baker has extended the stay-at-home advisory and closure of non-essential businesses until May 18th. There are over 56,000 cases of coronavirus in Massachusetts. Quincy will use the extra $1 million that it received from the federal government to help about 10,000 small businesses recover from the coronavirus crisis. Mayor Thomas Koch says the extra funds came to the city through the Community Development Block Grant Program to help communities during the pandemic. The mayor says the funds will be available to small businesses that gross under $1 million per year, which he says is not a lot when expenses are taken into account. Koch says the program is aimed at independent restaurants, bakeries, laundromats, barbershops, hair salons, and other small businesses. He says the application process will be kept as simple as possible and that the information will be available on the city's website this week. Mayor Koch also saying about $350,000 of the $1 million that was set aside to pay the rent of hospitality workers who lost their jobs due to the pandemic has been spent. But he says that only accounts for 1 month's rent. The mayor says the funds will be quickly depleted when a second round of rental assistance funds is used up. The Quincy Chamber of Commerce and Quincy Community Action Programs are overseeing those programs. The Chamber is helping restaurant workers, and Quincy Community Action Programs is assisting hotel and other hospitality employees who have been furloughed. Information about both programs is available on the city website or the website of the Quincy Chamber of Commerce and Quincy Community Action Programs. Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch says there are more questions than answers when it comes to beginning to reopen the city after the pandemic. The mayor is unsure when reopening will begin, but he says it will be a phased-in approach. He also says it's unclear now if any Quincy Recreation Department programs will be taking place this summer. Mayor says he will not be making a preliminary budget presentation to the Quincy City Council on Monday night because the city's revenue projections are still unclear. He says he has spoken to the council president and chairman of the finance committee and that they understand the situation. Quincy auto dealer Dan Quirk has donated a brand new cargo van to the South Shore YMCA of Quincy. The Y's director, Paul Gorman, says their 14-year-old van that they use to collect food from the Greater Boston Food Bank and local grocery stores broke down this week, leaving them with no way to collect food for the homeless clients and the children being served in their emergency child care centers. Gorman says that Quirk did not hesitate to offer a brand new vehicle, which he says will be put into service immediately. Gorman also says the Y is currently losing about $250,000 per week. And he says when the Y does reopen, it will be much smaller, both in membership and in staff. He says the Y may not reopen to the public before June. 3 new police officers are joining the Quincy force this week. Officers Scott Kelly, Matthew O'Flaherty, and Ryan Callanan have over a dozen years of law enforcement experience combined. The new officers were officially sworn in on April 6th and are participating in the Quincy Police Field Training Program. Due to the pandemic, instead of riding together, each new officer is assigned to one field training officer, and they ride in separate vehicles. Scott Kelly is a lifelong Quincy resident and is married with a 2-year-old daughter. Officer Flaherty comes from the Chelsea Police Department and also served 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. And Officer Ryan Callanan comes from the UMass Boston Police Department and is a U.S. Army veteran, having served in Afghanistan and in the Army Reserves. Stop and Shop and its employees' union are asking federal and state officials to designate grocery store employees as extended first responders or emergency personnel during the COVID-19 pandemic so that they have access to priority COVID-19 testing and personal protective equipment. In Massachusetts, Governor Baker has deemed grocers as part of the essential workforce, providing necessary services amid the coronavirus-related shutdowns that are now scheduled to last until May 18th. Yet granting grocery store workers this temporary first responder status would ensure their access to emergency childcare, testing, and other priority protections to keep their families safe, according to Stop & Shop's president Gordon Reed and United Food and Commercial Workers International president Mark Perrone. Shaw's and Star Market are making a similar national call requesting that their supermarket associates be temporarily designated as extended first responders too. Well, Governor Baker issued an executive order in hopes of making grocery stores safer workplaces, such as requiring each store to cap the number of people shopping at 40% of its maximum capacity. 3 supermarket employees have already died from the virus. Earlier this month, Baker's administration also gave supermarket workers access to the free priority COVID-19 testing sites at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough and the Big E Fairgrounds in West Springfield. But grocery store associates noted that granting workers first responder status will provide them with other priority protections like emergency child care. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh also pledged his support for grocers during a press conference this week. And a reminder to please send us your videos of life during the pandemic at home. Grab your phone or iPad and video your day-to-day routines. Let us know how you're coping, either working or going to school from home. Email your submissions to covid19@qatv.org, and then watch for your stories on Quincy Access Television, Channel 8. I'm Joe Catalano with an AM Quincy news update for Wednesday, April 29th.